Now that free agency is mostly done, now the real mock draft season starts. We now know what every team needs going into the draft, and with how teams scout upcoming pro days, we will have a better idea of what teams are looking for. At the conclusion of the main course of the free agency frenzy last week, I ran another fan mock draft to get another temperature check on each fan base to see how their opinions have changed on the draft. But let me lay out the rules for this mock draft. I asked each subreddit which player they would prefer to draft of the available players at their position. The most popular answer would be considered the pick. There won't be any trades in this mock, nor will there be any in the future ones. But before I get into what fans selected for their teams, please leave a like and sub. I'm trying to grow this channel, so any little bit helps. This is also the last fan mock draft I plan on running, unless we get 100 likes on the video. Then I'll do one last mock draft a week before the draft. Anyway, on to the picks. With the first pick of the fan mock draft, the Tennessee Titans select Cam Ward, quarterback, Miami. It's pretty much consensus that Cam Ward will go number 1 overall. Whether it's the Titans picking him or someone else is a different story, but I'm 95% sure that it'll be the Titans picking Ward here. The Titans in free agency didn't target a quarterback, instead they attempted to fix the offensive line. I feel like that points to them drafting a quarterback here. Cam Ward has the highest ceiling of any quarterback in this draft with his traits. He could use some more polish, but what he's shown in college is nothing short of impressive. With the second pick of the fan mock draft, the Cleveland Browns select Shedeur Sanders, quarterback, Colorado. Well, trading for Kenny Pickett didn't convince Browns fans to move away from Sanders. And look, I wouldn't be convinced either. But after that move, I just wouldn't be surprised if the Browns decide to go after someone else in this spot. However, Sanders is the most accurate quarterback in this class. He seemingly has a pretty high floor too, so he would immediately improve the Browns. Though the biggest question mark is his ceiling. His physical talent isn't impressive, and you could question how much better he can really get. It doesn't seem like the rest of the NFL is super high on Sanders either. I've seen several mock drafts where Sanders has fallen into the 20s. I highly doubt he falls that far, and it really only takes one team to take a chance on him. Even if the rest of the NFL isn't all that high on him, I still expect him to go somewhere in the top 5, whether to the Browns or Giants. With the third pick of the fan mock draft, the New York Giants select Abdul Carter, edge, Penn State. So here's the first real change after free agency. This time, arguably, the best player in the draft goes to New York. Previously, Giants fans wanted Travis Hunter. However, I feel like the addition of Paulson and Debo in free agency allowed Giants fans to be a little more comfortable with selecting a more premium position. The Giants need more talent on their defensive line alongside Dexter Lawrence and Brian Burns. Kayvon Thibodeau has not been all that impressive, and I feel like you could move on from him, or at least introduce some competition. Carter is one of the few blue chip prospects in this draft. He has all the makings to be a very good edge in the NFL, and could turn the Giants defensive line into one of the better units in the league. With the fourth pick of the fan mock draft, the New England Patriots select Travis Hunter, cornerback, Colorado. This is the first time Travis Hunter was available to the Patriots in one of my mock drafts. Patriots fans would be very happy with either Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter. Both of them are blue chip prospects, which this draft does not have a lot of. Hunter could either be wide receiver 1 of this team or be another corner alongside Christian Gonzalez. Both options I find really intriguing. Travis Hunter is a type of prospect we really haven't seen. The fact that he's at the top of 2 different positions is wild to me. I've seen enough mock drafts with the Patriots going offensive line here to make me think it's a possibility, but if I was sitting here with Travis Hunter on the board, it would be really difficult for me to pass on him. With the 5th pick of the fan mock draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Mason Graham, defensive tackle, Michigan. At this point, it's difficult to see the Jaguars go anywhere else with this pick. If both Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter were off the board and the Jaguars weren't trading down, there really isn't any other player I see them going for here. They addressed the offensive line, wide receiver, and cornerback in free agency. Sure, none of the players they added were high quality starters, but they were at least paid starter money, and I don't expect the Jaguars to use a first-round pick on any of those positions. They notably didn't add anyone on the defensive line. I feel like it makes it pretty obvious what they plan on doing at 5. I would be genuinely surprised if anyone other than Mason Graham goes at 5, if the Jaguars were picking there. With the 6th pick of the fan mock draft, the Las Vegas Raiders select Will Johnson, Cornerback, Michigan. Again, Will Johnson goes to the Raiders. They do need some serious help in their secondary, so I can understand why Raiders fans would want to address corner here. Will Johnson is still a pretty good corner prospect. He's a big, smooth corner that has good instincts and ball skills. He can play man coverage, but he's a better zone corner, which the Raiders do run. He would be a pretty good fit here in Vegas, but with him not performing at his pro day, I wonder if that will affect his draft stock here. His draft stock has been falling since the combine, and I could see it fall further. With the 7th pick of the fan mock draft, the New York Jets select Armand Membou, offensive tackle, Mizzou. Membou's stock continues to fly up. His impressive combine performance showed how athletic he is. Combined with pretty good film, you could argue he's offensive tackle 1 in this class. He's good in both pass pro and run pro. He has both good feet and technique. Alongside his elite athleticism, teams would be getting a pretty good deal with him. The only downside with Membou is that he's small for NFL offensive tackle standards, but I believe he is still playable at tackle. He played primarily right tackle in college, but with his athleticism, I feel like he could slide to left tackle. But the Jets lost Morgan Moses in free agency, who played right tackle. This would be a perfect plug-and-play situation for the Jets. A pretty high upside prospect who is already pretty polished and fills a need for them at a premium position. This would be a very good selection for them. With the 8th pick of the fan mock draft, the Carolina Panthers select Teteroa McMillan, wide receiver, Arizona. This is the first time McMillan was available for the Panthers, and they pounced on it. The Panthers spent some money on the defense in free agency. Though none of their moves really address the defensive line, I could see the argument to just go after the best player on the board. Bryce Young seemed to have a resurgence at the end of last season, so why not give him a big target in McMillan? The Panthers don't really have a receiver of note on the roster outside of Xavier Legette. Adam Thielen is getting old, so getting a rookie that he can help teach would be a good idea. However, some concerns about McMillan have been arising as of late. There have been some questions about his lack of effort on some plays, and if he really is the best wide receiver in a not all that great wide receiver class. I personally would not be surprised to see McMillan fall a bit. With the 9th pick of the fan mock draft, the New Orleans Saints select Mykel Williams, edge, Georgia. Now this is an interesting pick. For the past few mock drafts I ran, Saints fans have gone offensive line with Will Campbell. But I guess with the buzz about the Saints potentially going defense with this pick, they decided to go with Mykel Williams. An interesting selection considering they just paid Chase Young a bunch of money. But hey, it's not like they are overflowing with talent on the defensive line. Mykel Williams has a sky-high ceiling with his combination of size and traits. Alongside some good production in college, he is a very intriguing prospect. Now he is a bit raw since he hasn't had all that much playtime in college, but teams will want to take a chance on a prospect like this. I'm not surprised that Williams went this high in this mock. With the 10th pick of the fan mock draft, the Chicago Bears select Ashton Jeanty, running back, Boise State. Well, this pick certainly changes after what the Bears did in free agency. They completely rebuilt the interior of their offensive line. This, of course, frees up this pick to go best player available, and the best player on the board right now is Ashton Jeanty. The Heisman runner-up would be an immediate upgrade to the Bears running back room. He's one of the few blue chip prospects in this draft, and it's easy to see why. He has elite contact balance, elite vision, elite burst and speed, just elite all around. He was a legitimate game breaker, and his college production showed why. He has very few weaknesses, and any he has are just nitpicks. If a running back wasn't such a devalued position, Jeanty would be going much higher in the draft. With the 11th pick of the fan mock draft, the San Francisco 49ers select Will Campbell, offensive tackle, LSU. The 49ers suddenly have a lot of needs on their team after free agency, but offensive line was always a massive need coming into this offseason. Will Campbell has been seeing a slight slide as of late, but his size and athleticism should keep him as a well-respected prospect, though his short arms remain a serious concern. Very few starting offensive tackles in the NFL have arms shorter than 33 inches. Campbell's arms were measured at 32 5/8 inches. I fully expect Will Campbell to be kicked inside a guard at the NFL level, but the 49ers need a guard, so I feel like this would be a pretty good fit for them. With the 12th pick of the fan mock draft, the Dallas Cowboys select Jahdae Barron, cornerback, Texas. This would be a very good fit for the Cowboys. With the departure of Jordan Lewis in free agency, nickel corner is now a need for them. Though addressing that spot in the first round is certainly a choice, Barron is definitely worth the pick. He can easily be more than just a nickel corner. He's an excellent zone corner with great ball skills and a willingness to tackle. Though he is a little small to be an outside corner, he definitely has the athleticism if a team were to move him outside. His aggressiveness is also a great ability to have, though it can work against him on occasion. But honestly, Barron is my favorite corner of this class. Any team that ends up drafting him will be very happy with him. With the 13th pick of the fan mock draft, the Miami Dolphins select Jahad Campbell, linebacker, Alabama. In my opinion, Jahad Campbell is the best off-the-ball linebacker in this class. At the combine, he showed his elite athleticism. Combined with his size and coverage ability, you get a fantastic linebacker. It's rare to get a linebacker who's both effective in coverage and as a tackler. But despite his lack of experience, Campbell shows great ability in both. And his experience as an edge rusher adds some versatility to his game. He could use some more experience at the position, but he could turn into a very good linebacker at the NFL level. Now, Dolphins fans going linebacker here kind of surprised me. They have needs on the offensive line and safety, but they chose Campbell. But I guess the additions on the offensive line made Dolphins fans more comfortable with taking Campbell here rather than a lineman. With the 14th pick of the fan mock draft, the Indianapolis Colts select Tyler Warren, tight end, Penn State. The Colts spent some money on defense in free agency, shoring up the secondary. Neither of the top corners were available here anyway, and with them adding Cam Bynum, it made safety in the first round unlikely. So with Tyler Warren on the board, it made the pick pretty easy. He has a ton of versatility on the offense. His background as a former quarterback allows him to diagnose the defense and find soft spots in zone coverage. His reliable hands and him being a great red zone threat allows him to be a fantastic offensive weapon. This is Anthony Richardson's prove it year. If the Colts get Tyler Warren and Richardson still doesn't show he's capable of being the franchise quarterback, it will be time to move on from him. With the 15th pick of the fan mock draft, the Atlanta Falcons select Jalen Walker, linebacker, Georgia. The Falcons weren't exactly big spenders in free agency, so their defensive line still remains a big need for them. Falcons fans decided to go with someone who slipped a little bit in this mock. Jalen Walker has great athleticism, but how teams end up using him will be interesting. He has good production as an edge, but he's too small to be a full-time edge. And as an off-ball linebacker, he's still developing. He doesn't have much playing experience in college, so he's still raw. But if you give him some time to develop, he could turn into a very good player. Just don't expect him to be a star on day one. With the 16th pick of the fan mock draft, the Arizona Cardinals select Walter Nolan, defensive tackle, Ole Miss. Even after the Cardinals addressed defensive line in free agency, Cardinal fans still want a defensive tackle at this pick. Well, to be fair, they still have a need at defensive tackle. And Walter Nolan is considered one of the best pass rush defensive tackles in this class. He's fast and twitchy, which allows him to get into the backfield quickly. Though he doesn't have long arms, his use of leverage allows him to beat blocks anyway. If he can add some more pass rush moves to his arsenal, he could be an elite pass rush defensive tackle. With the 17th pick of the fan mock draft, the Cincinnati Bengals select Malachi Starks, safety, Georgia. Well, the Bengals extended their two top wide receivers, and maybe Trey Hendrickson ends up staying. So that's two needs taken care of. Kind of. They still need a good defensive tackle in my opinion, but if you prefer someone else here, there are still some good defensive tackle options in the second round. And that's what Bengals fans did here. The Bengals just need anything on defense. So honestly, any defensive player would work here. Starks would be a great addition to their secondary. He's a great run defender and has good ball skills as well, though he needs to work on his coverage abilities. But I do believe he has what it takes to be a good safety in the league. With the 18th pick of the fan mock draft, the Seattle Seahawks select Gray Zabel, offensive guard, North Dakota State. Well, the Seahawks spent their free agency not addressing offensive line, so here we are. Though it is a bit surprising that Seahawk fans went with Zabel over Tyler Booker, I can see why. Zabel is a very versatile offensive lineman playing 4 different positions on the line. He uses great leverage and is a heavy hitter. He also has good mobility for his size. Though he played tackle in his last season of college, his short arms will move him inside to guard. His impressive performance at the Senior Bowl has shot his stock up into the first round. He would be a very good fit for the Seahawks since they have a massive need at the interior of their offensive line, but we will end up seeing if they prioritize that position in the first round of the draft. With the 19th pick of the fan mock draft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Donovan Ezeraku, Edge, Boston College. While his draft stock seemingly has risen over the past few weeks, he has excellent technical skills when rushing the passer. He has great bend to get around tackles and has very good length despite his size. He also has a relentless motor. He's also effective in the run game because of his length. All these traits showed up in his production in college, and he did it against top competition, but I really question how effective he can be at the NFL level at his size. He is seriously undersized for an edge. If he can overcome it, he could be a high quality pass rusher, but I still do think this is a risky pick in the first round. With the 20th pick of the fan mock draft, the Denver Broncos select Kenneth Grant, defensive tackle, Michigan. An interesting pick here, but having a difference maker on the defensive line is a big deal. That's what Broncos fans think they are getting with this pick. He is a very big dude and is super athletic for his size. He is already a very good run defender, but he's still developing as a pass rusher. At worst, he's a space eater who could be an effective run stopper. But if he can further develop his pass rush ability, he could become a difference maker on the defensive line. But personally, I do think that's a very lofty goal for Grant. Still, I think the Broncos would be getting a good player here. I wouldn't be surprised to see Grant going earlier than this. With the 21st pick of the fan mock draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Derek Harmon, defensive tackle, Oregon. The Steelers need some help on the defensive line. They lost Larry Ogunjobi in free agency, and Cameron Hayward isn't going to be around much longer. But with Kenneth Grant going right in front of them, Steelers fans decided to go with the next best option. Harmon is a big dude at 313 pounds. He also had a pretty impressive combine performance, which has been shooting up his stock. Harmon had a breakout year last year with the Oregon Ducks. He was both effective in the pass game and run game, causing havoc in the backfield. He does need to work on his tackling, but I would trust a team like the Steelers to help him with that. We will see if he is able to build on what he did last year at the NFL level. With the 22nd pick of the fan mock draft, the Los Angeles Chargers select Colston Loveland, tight end, Michigan. Well, Chargers fans picked this guy again. It's not that it's a bad pick, it's just boring to have the same player in the same spot for every mock draft. But it's not that he's a bad fit. It's more of the fact he's a perfect fit. He played for Harbaugh at Michigan and could play with him again at the NFL level. He's one of the best receiving tight ends in this draft. He's dynamic down the field, and the Chargers need someone like that. They don't really have anyone at tight end, so he would fill a need for the Chargers. He does need to improve his play strength, but he still can be a very good weapon for the Chargers. With the 23rd pick of the fan mock draft, the Green Bay Packers select Matthew Golden, wide receiver, Texas. Golden is finally picked. He really elevated his stock after his combine performance. And Steve Smith recently had Golden as his top wide receiver in this class. So I wouldn't be surprised if Golden's stock continued to rise if McMillan's stock were to fall. Golden ran a blazing 4.29 at the combine, but he's not only a deep threat. He has a pretty solid route tree as well and is a very good route runner. His speed also allows him to be a playmaker with the ball in his hands. He does need to bulk up a bit and has an injury history, but he could become a very good wide receiver for any team that drafts him. With the 24th pick of the fan mock draft, the Minnesota Vikings select Tyler Booker, offensive guard, Alabama. Despite the Vikings going heavy for offensive line and free agency, Vikings fans continue to want them to build in the trenches, which is fair. They still have a need at guard. And most of the high-end defensive tackles are off the board right now, so why not go after the best pure guard in this draft? Booker is a very big man. He had impressive measurables at the combine. However, he didn't show great athleticism. That's why he's a guard. But still, he's a tone setter on the line and plays with the nastiness you want to see from an offensive lineman. He's also a great pass blocker, though his run blocking leaves a lot to be desired. Despite his size and power, he sometimes struggles to maintain blocks against skilled defenders. But if you can get him to improve his run blocking, he can be a plus starter at guard. With the 25th pick of the fan mock draft, the Houston Texans select Kelvin Banks Jr., offensive tackle, Texas. Well, the Texans spent free agency blowing up their offensive line, so any other pick other than offensive linemen should be considered malpractice. Fortunately for them in this mock draft, one of the best pass protecting tackles fell to them. He doesn't really have the ideal size to be an NFL tackle, however, I think he's playable at tackle. He also needs to work on his run blocking, however, this is due to his technique rather than a lack of ability, so it can be corrected at the NFL level. Honestly, if Kelvin Banks were to fall this far, it would be an absolute steal for any team that ends up picking him up. With the 26th pick of the fan mock draft, the Los Angeles Rams select Emeka Egbuka, wide receiver, Ohio State. With the loss of Cooper Kupp in free agency, the Rams were looking to get younger at the wide receiver position. Egbuka is a perfect fit for the Rams. He is a slot receiver that has elite speed and technical prowess. He's already an excellent route runner, and he has a good feel for the defense, which allows him to exploit soft spots in zone coverage. He also has reliable hands and playmaking ability thanks to his elite long speed. He does have some injury concerns, and his blocking leaves a lot to be desired, but I think he could be a high-end wide receiver 2 in the league. He would be a perfect pairing with Puka Nacua in LA. With the 27th pick of the fan mock draft, the Baltimore Ravens select James Pierce Jr., edge, Tennessee. The report of character concerns still affects Pierce in this mock draft. There were definitely plenty of teams that could use Pierce, but they ended up passing on him because of that report. The Ravens scoop him up here, and if this were to happen on draft day, I feel like it would be super unfair the Ravens got a steal like this. He is easily one of the best edge prospects in this draft. He has great athleticism, an elite first step, excellent bend, and natural instincts as a pass rusher. Combined with his football IQ, he's a menace on the defensive line. Sure, he's not a perfect prospect and he lacks experience, but he should be going much higher if the character concerns report is proven false. With the 28th pick of the fan mock draft, the Detroit Lions select Shamar Stewart, edge, Texas A&M. Somehow he falls to the Lions again. I understand he's a project player and hasn't had the college production, but this type of player usually goes in the top 10. I would be surprised if he falls out of the top 15 on draft day, because NFL GMs always manage to convince themselves that their team will be able to develop a player like this. I mean, there is a lot to like about Stewart's potential. He had an insane combine performance that put him at the athletic level of Myles Garrett. He is already an elite run defender. He has rare bend and flexibility for someone his size. He converts speed to power with very good effectiveness. He just has a baseline that you cannot teach. If you can teach him the technical skills to be a pass rusher, he has the opportunity to be an absolute monster on the defensive line. With the 29th pick of the fan mock draft, the Washington Commanders select Nick Emenwari, safety, South Carolina. Talk about a guy who had an elite performance at the combine. He rose his stock from being a second-round guy to a potential first-round pick. But a little after the combine, his stock has cooled a little bit. But I still think he ends up going somewhere in the first round. If he were available for the Commanders tier, I think he would be a perfect fit for them. They lost Jeremy Chin in free agency, and I think Emenwari can fill that role pretty easily. Both Chin and Emenwari are very similar. Both have impressive RAS scores with a 10 out of 10. It's actually impressive how close they are to each other. I do expect Emenwari to go a little bit earlier than this, but if he was available here, it would be a perfect pick for the Commanders. With the 30th pick of the fan mock draft, the Buffalo Bills select Trey Amos, cornerback, Ole Miss. We have a new man entering the first round this mock draft. The Bills need corner help after Kaiir Elam didn't really work out for them. There are a variety of corner options at this spot they could choose from, but they chose Trey Amos, who's been getting some recent draft buzz. He has good size and is a very good athlete too, though his specialty is as a press man corner. He uses his quick feet and strong hands to disrupt receivers at their release, to mess with timing, and to dictate how they release. He also has elite ball skills. He had an impressive 13 pass breakups this past season, which was the most of any Ole Miss defender since 2015. The Bills aren't exactly a big man defense, but they utilize it quite a bit. Trey Amos isn't the best zone corner, but he's still effective as one. With the 31st pick of the fan mock draft, the Kansas City Chiefs select Josh Simmons, offensive tackle, Ohio State. Well, the Chiefs select a different offensive tackle this time around, and honestly, a better prospect too. He is an excellent pass protector. He also has good size and footwork. With his technical skills as well, he is a day one starter. Really, the only reason he's available this late is because of the knee injury last year. The Ohio State Pro Day is next week, and if he is clear to participate and does well, he will shoot up draft boards. With the 32nd pick of the fan mock draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select Nick Scorton, edge, Texas A&M. Well, the Eagles lost a lot on their defensive line in free agency. They lost Milton Williams and Josh Sweat to free agency, and Brandon Graham retired. So the Eagles need some edge help. Nick Scorton is a good option here. He has great explosiveness and some refinement to his game. He has a number of pass rush moves in his arsenal. Now, his tackling isn't the greatest, but with some good coaching, he should be able to improve his technique. And that's the final fan mock draft. unless you guys hit the like goal. I plan on doing an analysis video on all 3 fan mock drafts to see how each pick changed over each draft. Also, let me know in the comments what you thought of each pick and if you would change any of them. But I'll see you guys in the next video.